All right, we're recording. Okay, welcome everyone to TRC Mastermind Q&A call for, what is it, Monday, May 15th, halfway through the month already. Okay, no big updates on my end. Aaron, anything on your end?
No, sir.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's just dig into it then. Chris, good to see you, brother. How are things going? What's new? What can we help you with?
It's going well. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
So it's been I'm way behind right now on everything. Sorry about that. It's been a whirlwind. If you've ever moved a facility or a home or something, I'm sure you guys understand. It's a little nuts, but it's going good. We just finished up our second week in the new location, and we've been mobbed with new people coming in the door, which is phenomenal. So we're just trying to figure out how to handle all that as we go, and figure out, the workflow of the new space, and trying to train groups in the new space, new equipment, everything's new. So just trying to figure all that out, which is a good problem to have. So we're excited about it, and just trying to get back into a routine and a rhythm to do the things I need to do on the back end, as well as handle everything coming through the front door on the front end right now. So just trying to get back into that routine and get into it.
Yeah. Is the physical move done, moving all the equipment and all that, and the entire setup, is that completed?
Yeah, we did all that over a weekend. So everything is in place and up and running in a new location.
All right, good. So when you said you're getting flooded, getting real busy, that's great. Were you doing something proactively to drive, or are you getting a lot of walk by type traffic, a lot of interest because it's a new location?
Hello,
Chris.
Yeah.
On the you said you're real busy. You're getting flooded. Yep. So did you do some specific marketing to generate that, or is it just because it's a new location, people are interested, you're getting a lot of walk by, drive by stuff?
Yeah. So tax day campaign was one, so that's good. So we have all those folks still going through their 1 month, but at the same time, so I had that roll out. At the same time, I ran some Facebook ads showing pictures as we were sort of going through the construction phase, and then the finished product. And we took a whole bunch of pictures there of the new location, and then launched a Facebook ad that said, check out our new training center, and that has just blown up with tons of leads coming in the door. For that, we did a reactivation campaign, which is the one that's here. We did that at the same time to get old members back in the door, so that's done well. And then we also launched the Alicia's Little Black Dress Challenge at the same time. So we sort of had like the perfect storm going on at the same time, and it's been great.
That is awesome, man. That's massive action right there, and good for you. It's nice when things come together, man.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, good. Well, is there anything specifically that we can help you with, or you just in good shape?
No, I would say some insight on the tour thing. I've posted about this. I know Rick commented about this a little bit, but I just wanted to get a little bit more perspective because I've never been in a location where we had walk-ins, and now we're in a commercial space. The whole front of our building's all windows. We have a lot of walking traffic, a lot of people walking through the door. We have the sales scripts in place, and what we've always been taught, just like Rick commented on his post, was to just stick to the script, just like if you were on the phone with them. But I also just wanted to get a feel for, when you do get up from the lobby area and you do begin to walk around that facility and, show folks around, is there a method? Is there a process, a system to that that I can implement?
Yeah. Anyone want to comment on that?
So, Chris, let me ask you a couple of questions in regard to that. Are you on site all the time? Who's your manager? Who is the first person these people see when they walk through the door, these walk-ins?
Yeah, so it's going to depend on what time of day. I might have an admin who is front desk, who is here part-time from like 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. So if it's her, then she's going to do that. Otherwise, it's going to be myself or my wife.
Okay, so somebody is always greeting someone who comes through the door then?
Correct.
Okay. So this is a bit different then, but with the Fitness Together systems that I was with, as well as the Iron Tribe system, oftentimes, trainers are on the floor, and obviously there's somebody there, at all hours of the day. But when a walk-in walked in, the coach was forced to leave the group and kind of greet them. And the system, therefore, was, here is a form, contact information. We capture their information right there, right then, by handwritten information, in which time we would call them at another time. Your situation, though, is somebody's there at all times, right?
Correct.
So do you try to take them through an orientation on the spot? Are you trying to sell them the moment they walk through the door? What is your standard mode of operandi in this?
Okay. So right now we're still trying to figure that out. But what we've done over the last 2 weeks is if we did not have a training session going on at that time and we could do that, what we've been doing is walking them. First we sit down in our lobby and just sort of going through the sales script that we have, building rapport, asking a lot of questions, probing and discovery questions, just going through all of that, trying to understand what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish, et cetera, and then begin talking about our solution to meet their needs. And then at the end of that, then we're just walking them around the facility, showing them everything, and then come back to the front desk lobby area and get them signed up for a trial membership at that time.
Well, how's that working out at this point?
So far, everything has been great. We're just kind of feel like we're winging it right now just because we've not done it before, but it's going well so far.
All right. So being that you've moved into a new facility, kind of walk me through what happens when a client comes into your door. Is there a quiet lobby area, or is it opened up to the gym? It's just a bunch of background noise. Walk me through that.
So there is a front desk lobby area. It's sort of off to the side of the gym. You can see the gym from there, but it is sort of separated out, okay? Because there's a separate section where it's offices, conference room, lobby area, large front desk area, lobby area where we have couches, chairs, coffee station, things like that. So they can come into that area first. And
in terms, is it open air though? Is it just sectioned off, or is it cordoned off with doors and walls?
It's open. It's more open.
Okay. So the music blaring and all that could be an effect when people come through the door trying to hear a conversation. Yes.
So what we did was we have the ability to control the speakers in each section. So we turn the music off in the lobby area. So just the way the building is built, you can hear the music, but the music isn't super loud anyway in our place. We don't have blaring music. So in the lobby area, it's not very much of a distraction. The music isn't that loud. So you can definitely sit there and have a conversation without distraction.
All right. So in your lobby area, you said there's a coffee station and all that. Is there couches? Is there chairs? Is there a table?
There is. Yep. There's coffee. There's a little coffee bar. There's a couch, couple chairs, tables.
And where do you normally sit during all this?
So generally wherever they sit down, we try to sit not across from them, but off to the side of them.
So do you direct them where to sit, or you just invite them to sit, or how does that play out?
We probably just at this point invite them to take a seat, and then wherever they sit, we'll position ourselves off to the side of them.
Okay. And are you offering them coffee at that point, refreshments, something along those lines?
Yeah, we offer them coffee, tea, or water.
Okay. How often is that taken advantage of?
At this point, no one has ever taken advantage of that.
Okay. All right. So I would do what I could to phrase this a little different.
Okay.
And I would phrase, because here's what you want in my mind, all right? And others can jump in. I want them consuming something because the law of reciprocity will be in effect. Okay. I want them to be drinking something that I've given them. So instead of asking them if they want something, I'm going to say, which do you prefer? Coffee, tea, water.
Okay.
All right. And if they opt out, just say, well, listen, let me get you water anyway, and just bring them a water.
Mm-hmm.
I want the law of reciprocity working for you.
Okay.
So make sure that they get their hands on something, right? And that they leave with it. The second thing is what did they leave with when they leave your facility? Do they have something in hand?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when they leave our facility right now, we have brochures and business cards. And hopefully at that point we have signed them up for a trial. But if they did not sign up for a trial, I haven't had that happen yet, but if that was the case, we also have free passes for various workouts, yoga sessions, etc. We could provide those for them as well, just a free workout in any one of those sessions. So that's what we have right now. But I also know that I have some studies on the importance of providing a welcome packet at that time, something more extensive that I would like to put together.
Yeah, and make sure it's information-based. Brochures are fine, right? Business cards are okay. Most of the times those things get set aside. You want to have some kind of a special report that's attention-grabbing that you can give them that gets them engaged if they walk out the door, right? This is something I created 18 years ago, all right, for a local business or a local equipment distributor. You open it up, it's got, and what you probably can't see here is all these different tabs, right?
Yeah.
And but anyway, it's something for them to hold in their hand when they leave, and it can be anything, but just try to give them information-based products for them to consume. To tie them in more emotionally, assuming that they haven't joined up on the spot. Even if they have joined up on the spot, make sure that they leave. All right. Well, that's my contribution, boys. What have you guys got?
Yeah, so I'm curious. Chris, you said that so far every walk-in has left opting into some sort of trial. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And is it a free trial or a paid trial?
Right now, we have a free trial going on.
Okay. All right. Good. And so you're clearly not meeting resistance. People are excited. They're engaged and they're taking advantage of what you're offering them.
Correct.
And are they showing back up for the trial? Have you had enough time to determine that?
We're tracking those, and as they come back in, most are coming back in. There's been a couple who have not showed up, and we are following up with phone calls for those people.
Yeah, awesome. So just a couple things. Number one, Dan Kennedy always talks about, one of the reasons he was so effective. You guys probably know the story. For, I think, 15 years, he was one of the primary speakers on Peter Lowe's success tour, whatever it's called, the seminar tours, where he spoke with, former presidents and things like that, huge events. And he outsold everybody. And even though he was the last speaker almost every time, he outsold everybody from the stage. And the reason that he did that is because he had a perfectly crafted pitch. It was all planned out. There was nothing left to chance. So you're smart to be asking about this, and that my recommendation would be that it be pretty much scripted out and, sort of like how a play should occur. It not going into ridiculous amount of detail, but just so that it's clear, because that way you're developing an SOP, right? You're developing a standard operating procedure that you can then delegate to somebody else to handle for you. And it seems to me that the process you've got right now seems to be working just fine. So I think I would stick to it. I would just make sure that it is stuck to, if it's not you doing it. So if it's somebody else doing it, you want to make sure that they're following that exact same process as well. And the only other comment is what Aaron said about the in terms of the welcome packet. 100% agree. Brochure is fine as a supplementary piece of information, but your primary information should be something like a special report. And I refer again to a Dan Kennedy story about the Shed Shack, where this is a company that created sheds, or sold sheds that you could build in your backyard. And they had this report that was called 87 different amazing things you can do with your shed, or something like that. And all those 87 things were just success stories from their previous clients. People would send in pictures saying, here's what I did, here's how I built it. So what I would look at doing is something like a report, like maybe the 11 biggest mistakes people make when starting a fitness program, or something along those lines. And then in there, I'd address those things, come up with good, the solid 11 solid mistakes, and supplement those with social proof. and maybe you've got some testimonials that support those mistakes, where people said, oh yeah, I tried doing it myself in home, or I tried these diets, blah, 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 that support whatever your mistakes are. Again, doesn't need to be too complicated. What it needs to be is compelling. As Aaron said, a brochure is not necessarily compelling. A special report that hits a strong emotional feeling and promises significant benefit is much more compelling, draws them in, gets them engaged with your social proof, reinforces your entire message, and it becomes a conversion tool to get those folks who've opted into the free trial to show up, because they're like, hey, these folks clearly know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of that free report, I know there's a couple free reports been provided here with the referral challenge. Would you recommend any of those, or do you think I need to get something different altogether?
Yeah. So what I would do is, the crystal ball and the mistake, startling facts. Those things could be. I think the crystal ball particularly could be put as on the back of the report, or as complimentary information in the report. But I would. Well, actually, now that I think of it, because it is questions to answer to determine whether the crystal ball might work. Now that I think of it, the crystal ball might be just right for that. Although what I would do is I'd add in a bunch of social proof, because that's what you want. You want the compelling information, but you also want proof that you guys deliver, and you just can't use that too much. You can't overuse social proof. So yeah, I think the crystal ball could work, because that is compelling.
I do too. And also look at the vision report too. So both of those combined would be
right.
Good.
Right. The vision report, which is in with, where is that now? Is that in with Startling Facts? I think it is. I'll take a look and I'll double check on that. But those are my thoughts. Rick, Dathan, you guys want to add anything?
The only thing I would maybe suggest was to take what Eric was saying a little further about your sales script and really perfecting it. I would actually even script the whole process when they come in the door, exactly where they're sitting down. I mean, literally everything. When they walk through the door here, there's a process. I know exactly where they're going to be, where they're going to sit, and that's where we do things. I make all of that consistency too. So even if you were touring your facility, for example, you're walking the same way the entire time after you've had that sit down with them. I mean, the more you have everything, the whole process scripted, the better you're going to become at it, and the better your staff is going to become at it. So I would literally go so far to teach my people, here's exactly how we're doing it. When they come in, we greet them, we're walking them right here, and try to find a place where there's not as many distractions, so you have that contact with them. Does that make sense, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would literally go to the point. I mean, that's what I do, is everything is scripted. Not just, what I'm saying and everything, but where they're sitting, literally to my expressions when I'm talking to them is literally scripted.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can take that to an extreme, and by extreme I mean a very positive thing, like what Dan was talking with. I mentioned the Dan Kennedy story and what Rick just described. The more detailed you are, frankly, the more effective this will ultimately be, particularly in terms of training staff to do it. Like, for instance, you could have, as you're walking them to the couch or whatever, that's the time for rapport building. And for, and so maybe some ideas, you might actually list out a couple questions that could be asked of the person. If you ideally, this is handed off to somebody who is a natural rapport builder, who can sort of come up with that type of conversation without, a whole lot of training. But that's rapport building. Then when you get into the sort of the sales process, particularly during the tour, what I've seen done so poorly many times with tours is where they just walk you around and they show you equipment, and there's like, hey, this is equipment. This is what this does. It's all feature driven. there's no benefit and there's no interaction. It's all just somebody spewing information at the prospect as opposed to getting them engaged, asking them questions. You know, what have you struggled with in the past? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? That type of thing. And then they say, well, you know, I want to bulk up. And then you can talk about, well, you know, here's what we do, blah, blah, blah. That type of thing. So that it is all very process driven and specific. And you can list out some questions for your trainee to adhere to as they take the tour. And then ultimately you have to make a decision. You know, is this person engaged enough that you could actually sit down and potentially do a sales consultation with them at that point? Or are they like looking at their watch and they're, you know, they got to go and you can't hang on to them at that point. So you just want to give them the free trial offer.
Right.
Okay. So there's a lot of considerations, but if you think each one of those people is potentially worth maybe $1,000 or more to you, it's a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah.
So when Paul Fetters and I began to work together, I created a newspaper report for him. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but here it is, right? This is a big old 20-page piece. Now, Paul is a smart guy, right? He knew how to take this one time off and make it multi-use. So whenever he brings in consultations or has his 28-day referral challenge and he has 20, 30, 40 people at a time, he'll have this thing sitting in everyone's seat. So when they come in and they sit down and before it even begins, these guys are reading this thing, building credibility and building momentum before he ever steps out in front of them. That's the kind of stuff you need to do. Have it sitting on your coffee table, right? Make sure that they lead with it or something.
Yeah. Dathan, anything you want to add? Do you get a lot of walk-ins?
You know, we do have good to see you guys too. Summertime's coming, and yeah, we are actually right across kitty corner to our town's farmers market. That being said, I don't get nearly as many walk-ins as I should, and I don't really pursue them. What you guys are, although I'm positioned well to get them, and maybe I should push for them. Definitely I should, right? But what you guys are describing right now is a level of detail that I'm just not there yet. So, for example, if I have a walk-in come in, if I'm not there to do it, then the best that I hope for is that my coach gets their information on a waiver and invites them in for a free workout. But if I'm there, I want to follow a process similar to the one that you described. I want to show them around. I want to offer them a free workout. And if I can get them to sit down and consult right then, I would like to sign them up for a trial membership. I do have a question, though. You guys were talking about the initial, what I would call a value bomb, what I give to somebody just for inquiring, for an email, or for coming in and stopping in, coming in for your free trial. So I'm going to send out, and also add them to my list, I'm going to send out a recipe book and an in-home workout guide, as well as a sample healthy recipe list. But when I do it, I have them standing right in front of me usually, and I text it to them right there to their phone, and they can go and get the link, or I can send it to them on Facebook, and they can go open it. There's not a ton of social proof in there, and it's not a physical thing. I'm messaging it. I mean, I'm doing it in person, but I'm not putting it in their hands. So my question is that cut it? Is that getting me enough, as you say, reciprocity out of that interaction, out of that exchange? What'd you say?
Yeah, I'll give you my quick feedback. Number one, I love that you do it because there's the most important thing you can do with any walk-in, any lead in general, and it's not a lead until you get contact information. So until you have some way to communicate with that person, it is not a lead. It's just a prospect. So you're getting contact information because obviously they got to give you their number in order for you to send them that text or email or whatever it is that you're going to send it to.
Absolutely.
So that is really good. What I think you can do to improve it is to also have something physical that you can give them. And you could even go, I mean, if you really, there's all levels of sophistication. So I'm just going to throw this out as an idea, is that you could say, hey, I'm going to text you this right now. And by the way, I've got this to give you, you take home with you. And oh yeah, I've got one other thing, but and this is where you fudge it a little bit. Maybe if I don't know, you got to feel your way, but you say, I don't have it available right now, but I'd like to mail it to you. And that gives you an opportunity to get their mailing address as well. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, but what I would do at the very least is get that contact information via the text and give them something that they can physically walk out with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nathan, it's the world is awash with the concept of SEO, right? Search engine optimization, but it's not nearly as effective as message optimization, right? You want to optimize every opportunity to get your message out, right? So what I would go right along with what Eric said, right? Multiple ways to get that message in front of them. So think of message optimization. How many opportunities can I optimize to get my message in front of them? And so online, offline, digital, hard copy, verbal, video, all of it. Dan Kennedy, that we quote all the time, says the worst number in business is 1, right? You don't want just one way to get a client. You want 100 ways to get a client, right? And at that end, to that point, if the worst number in business is 1, you don't want to primarily get your clients through Facebook, because the day will come when Facebook becomes AdWords. And it'll be so expensive to use it that, unless you're at the top of the food chain, it's going to cost you $6, $7 to get a lead. And then it'll be $8 and $10. And then it'll be 15. And then it'll be 40.
Yeah. I've been at 20 a lead before.
Yeah. A couple other things. Yeah, that's a lot to pay. But again, it all comes down to the math. If it costs you 20 to get the lead,
You're right.
and it costs you another 100 to convert the lead, as long as you know that customer is going to be worth $1,000 to you or whatever, it's workable. So it all comes down to the math. But ideally, what you want to do is drive down acquisition costs and increase, long-term lifetime value. So that way you get the fattest margins.
Right.
One other thing, Dathan, you mentioned, I think it's worthwhile if you've got potential traffic sources outside like that farmer's market, I would test putting a sign out front with some sort of compelling offer on there and just see what happens. You can have some cheap signs made or have some nice signs made pretty inexpensive.
Even a sidewalk sign that you can write your offer on.
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it.
A blown up before and after, I think, would work really well. Like some social proof there. And then an offer, 3-day trial.
Yeah.
They work effectively, I can assure you that, because my entire wall is nothing but massive before and afters.
Yeah.
So if you could put something like that on your front window and literally make it take up the whole window, I assure you that works. I mean, I'm in a little bit obscure area, but people know about my before and afters.
Yeah, it gets attention. There's no doubt about it. And interest and desire, and can also get action. So there, you've covered all the bases according to John Caples. And that's good. Chris, one other comment to make to you is that like a lot of the stuff that you do, you're clearly on the right path. Things are working for you great with this. Now it's just a matter of optimization. So it's just very smart of you, obviously, to be asking the questions and looking to ways to optimize it. But it sounds like what you're doing right now is working. So it's just about dialing it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little fine tuning. Question about packaging of that free report. Is it good enough to just use like a simple, nice folder from your local supply store, or do we need to take it to another level there and actually have like printed folders and such?
Yeah, I wouldn't go hog wild. I believe that you keep your costs down initially until you've gotten to the point where you've got something that you really like, that you're happy with, and that you're consistently getting this traffic. And then I would do a higher run I'd have it, you take it to Kinko's or something like that. You can get 100, 200 of them made with maybe a high gloss cover that has some nice social proof images on it and a great headline. Something along those lines. But initially, I'd go pretty simple. I'd just do it, I'll tell you what's worked forever and still works today is just canary yellow paper with a real compelling headline and maybe an image underneath it that's staple. So you can keep it pretty simple. It doesn't have to be real high end as long as the message is compelling. That's the thing. That's the caveat.
Okay.
So yeah, what I'm getting at is don't spend a lot of money up front. Try and do it on the cheap, but make it look as nice as you want it to make. I just wouldn't go crazy with expense. If you can do those, you should probably be able to get a nice report printed individually. If you're doing, let's say, 20 at a time, for less, around $1 or so, I would imagine. I think. I haven't done it in a little while, but I just wouldn't go crazy with it is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Dathan, let's jump to you. And is there anything, what's going on with you? How are things going? And any questions, issues we can help you with?
Yeah. Kind of to piggyback on my post the other day, the tax day campaign went really well. Not necessarily for numbers, although there were good numbers, but it was getting my team in place and just like putting some responsibility on them, and they did it. There was they did a good job of making the points of contact where I kind of identified, this is when you need to send this message, this is when you need to schedule this meeting. Cameron, this is the nature of this meeting. These are the questions you need to ask. You need to make sure that you A/B close, get a commitment now. And I had heard on a couple calls ago, I know Rick had mentioned that he likes to get that non-committed commitment, that sort of agreement to continue in the first day or the first 3 days. I personally prefer to do that in the middle. I want to do that at 2 weeks because there's a lot that goes on in my facility, and if I'm honest, there's a lot of things that I could be more organized about maybe. Or maybe a better way to put it is, I have a bad taste in my mouth from moving too fast with new prospects and confusing them, overwhelming them, or not getting my message across clearly, and I know I've lost business for it. So I prefer now to get them in, get them comfortably acclimated and onboarded in the first day. Somebody needs to message them immediately after, like the next day, see how they're feeling. And then I want to do it again within 5 days to see how they're doing. And then I want to meet with them in 2 weeks. And then from there, I'm going to A/B close and just ask them, do you want to continue with semi-private or with boot camp? Now, this is a flip for me because all the way up until this point, I've always signed people up immediately to my lower-end program and, as you say, tiered them up. But I'm in a position in my business where I don't need that immediate sale. I can take a little more time. I can offer a little more for a little less on the front end. And so I've completely flipped my process now. I ran something similar to Mother's Day to what I did to Tax Day, and we're doing the same thing, letting them into semi-private and trying to A/B close them after a few weeks. So it's working really well. My biggest issue right now is that I have way more traffic than I can handle, honestly. I know that might sound stupid, but I've got leads and leads and leads, and I've got, I remember when I was paying $20 for a lead on Facebook, my job 8 hours a day was to do cold follow-ups, warm follow-ups. I mean, that's all I did. I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money getting my message dialed in, and now I have the opposite problem. So I have some leads that are just busting down the door to give me their money. I have some people that would be that person if I could take some time with them. And then I have a whole slew of people that are in that sort of 30% that will convert if I get to them, if I engage them enough, if I give them enough follow-up. And this is a trend that I've noticed in my business a lot. As soon as I improve one thing, then it just all overflows, and I feel like it's good, but it's also frustrating because I know the potential that I'm sitting on right now as far as business, and I just need to get help to keep up with it. So that's where I'm at right there.
Let me just
can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Everybody wants to hear on this.
The reason, what you just described is the reason I went to that front end offer, because I was in the same place you were. About 2 or 3 weeks in, I would sit down, schedule a desk date with everybody and everything. And, people would slip through the cracks because they didn't make their desk date, or we had so many people. That is the exact reason I came up with the front end way of doing it, because it really simplified my life considerably. Believe me, I like what you're doing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but like I said, I was in the exact same place you were. And same thing, you could see business just slipping through your hands. And I know how frustrating it is. And that's exactly why I did what I did.
I would just say that for every other personal trainer who's watching this, who is struggling to get leads, they hate both of you guys right now.
It's a good problem. It's a good problem. I've been in the other position. But you know, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I recognize completely that I reach a certain level of burnout. Maybe I get wore out, and there's so much of it. There's so much traffic. I know what number one is, and I've never been confused about that. Leads and sales. You know, if we're going to do what we're going to do, I need traffic. I need sales all the time. And my culture, I believe that my team is aware of that as well. And they think that they believe in the integrity of it. But the people I'm training to do the onboarding are the people really I need a trainer to help me with follow-up. So I just trying to manage it.
What about your brother? I thought he was going to help you.
So here's what Cameron does. He's doing, and let me explain the process right now. So he's the first face you see at the gym. He's going to work with you primarily. He's going to do your measurements. And he's also going to do your accountability meetings for 99% of our clients at my franchise prototype location. And so there's been a little bit of a process to get him in the frame of mind to keep an eye on the door, because we have all of our sessions on a schedule. So he needs to take that time between sessions to be at the door or to be meeting with a new trial and to close. There's another coach here to help greet other clients and get things going. So what his job is initial point of contact at the door, train them through their trial membership at the very least, ask them in 2 weeks, shoot them a text for that meeting. He's to sit down for that meeting, go through the 5-question accountability script that I have for them. And then if they're not already on a semi-private trial, he's to offer that. If they are on a semi-private trial, he's to offer an A/B close at the end. Let them know when their end date is. Explain membership. Let them know that they're not locked in, that they can continue with boot camp for X amount of dollars or semi-private for X. Which would you like to do? When he gets that verbal commitment, he relays it to me. So over the tax day process, there was one time when he texted me on a Saturday and says, hey, I did your accountability meeting. She's ready to sign up. Call her at 7. And I said, no, I'm not calling her at 7 tonight. We don't need that sale today. That was something that you should have done in the meeting. So that's just like the process that we're going through. But as far as getting him to get on the computer and do a follow-up, no. He's not good at it. He's not his strong suit. He's not going to be able to keep that in his head, and I'm not going to ask him to do that. My admin could do that. However, she's just getting accustomed to the onboarding process. So if she's giving me 2 hours on a Monday morning, she may onboard 6, 8, 10 people during that time, and that could take up her whole time. I don't know yet if it should take that long or not. But my job is more and more I'm making that time for follow-up and for closing my sales.
What do your margins look like? Are they real healthy?
Yeah. Just so like if it's, you mean my close rates? Is that what you're saying?
Your margins, your profit margins on a client. Have you calculated that out?
I don't know what it is per client. I don't know what it is per client.
Okay. So you a couple things. You ought to first get the book Profit First. We talked about this on the last call. Camelia, my wife, teaches off that book basically for a lot of her coaching clients. It's a great book. It'll help you understand your numbers, and you need to figure out what your margin is. And the reason that I ask you that is because your problem right now, as I see it, is a lack of leverage. You need people, because if you're going to grow, you've got to have good people. And the sooner you get them in and start training them, it's a hard process. It's training people's. I can't do it. It's very difficult, as you know. But it's also the only way out for you. There is no other way out. There's no automation that's going to handle it for you. It's going to come down to people. And so you need to either increase your admin's time or get another admin, and then find somebody who can do, maybe it's your admin or your second admin, help Cameron either, I don't know, or help you. You'll have to noodle through that. But the point is you need people.
people.
Yeah. You need at least, it sounds like, one more body or a lot more hours from your admin. I mean, does that resonate with you at all? Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I have an extra body. So as a part of this process, we're trying to get organized and systemized. I have a coach that I've added some hours for her, and she's helping sort of get our old trials onto a reactivation list and get organized in the office. She would be perfect to do those follow-ups. So yeah, that'll be my first option. We'll try to get her to move and to help me sort those out. And then I think as my admin gets more organized and as we get a little bit tighter with the system, she'll be able to take some of that. I think there's a lot of fear around it too, losing your leads, losing your traffic, because I'm not looking every day, or I will be anyways in micromanaging. But what you said though is that people are my way out is exactly what I needed to hear. That's exactly what I needed to hear.
It is, especially, and here's the other thing is that, I hope for everybody, myself and Aaron included, that the leads are always there, that they're always flowing. But the reality is that there are going to be times when they're not. And so you need to make hay while the sun's shining. If those leads are strong right now, you definitely need to be capitalizing on that. And I think the only way to do that is to get some help.
Yeah, I agree.
And the sooner you get them trained up, the sooner you can, take a day off a week and do some Dathan stuff.
Right.
And we all need that, man.
Yeah.
Let me just jump in that when you're training whomever, if you're bringing in a new person, that's a different dynamic than it is bringing somebody that's in the system up, right? And so the rule of thumb is never place a new trainer with an old customer, right? You don't ever want to have that incongruency of someone who's paying you big money introduced to a novice trainer, right?
Yeah.
So whoever takes over this new position that we're talking about, they need, if you can, from within, bring them up instead of bringing somebody out, somebody new in, as a general rule.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
All right. Anything else on Dathan?
No, I appreciate it. I'm going to get this done.
All right, very good. We're getting some feedback somewhere. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but anyway, it's not too bad. Rick, first of all, I want to let you know I got your message and I will reply to you today. I apologize for the delay.
No worries. I'm not stressing over that. That's the least of my worries, Eric.
I hear you. I just never want anybody to feel like they're being ignored, because you're not.
No, I know you're busy, so I don't stress over it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so how are things going on your end, and what can we help you with?
Really, the facility side is doing really, really well right now. My two coaches are doing a great job. I haven't even had a chance to tell them how well they're doing. I think they're a big reason our retention is going to do so well this time, because they're doing such a good job in there. Everything's going well. I just need to get on them a little bit more. They're both sitting behind me, so they're hearing this. I need to get on both of them a little bit more to stay on our members regarding the Facebook check-ins. We get a little complacent with it at times, so we just need to do better, tighten up the ship in certain places, but it's really going well. Like I was telling you on Friday, I'm just really waiting until we get the habit maker going, because I'm really excited about that. That just thrills me. Aside from that, I mean, I've been knee deep in this other project, and I will be until it actually goes live, to be quite honest with you. So if we're just keeping everything right now here, just going in the right direction, I'm happy, as long as it doesn't take a step backwards. I know now who I have to blame for this big pure motion rig that I bought. You're on mute, Aaron.
Can't hear you. There, I unmuted you. You just muted yourself. There you go.
I was there for a very brief 6-month period of time to help them optimize their message. But as far as Monet and what No, I can't come up with the same. But they are stellar people, man. I mean,
they are. Jeff Flagg is a real good friend of mine.
Right.
Yeah, they're good people. I'm just giving you trouble. But really, everything, Eric, is going well. I mean, there's some other things that I will start jumping back into once I get through this other project. But it's right now just consuming me, getting all these videos. I'll tell you right now, doing an online summit is a lot more work than a live one.
Really?
Yes, just so many more details. I mean, do a live summit is easy. Decide on my date, get the marketing in place, find the presenters, and then when you get there, making sure everything's set up. Well, here we're like, you guys both know, you and Aaron, we're recording the videos. Now I have to get them edited, get them uploaded, got to get everybody's page created on, the presentation page. So there's a lot more involved with it. And so it has been keeping me busy, especially since we're planning on starting the marketing next Monday.
Okay. All right. Good. So it's exciting. And Dathan and Chris, if you guys aren't familiar, Rick is doing it's Fit Pro Business Summit, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Fit Pro Business Summit, online summit, free. Brought in 35 really excellent business owners, fitness marketers that interviewed them on a variety of topics. And I'm helping him, Aaron's helping him with this, and a lot of other folks are helping him, Alicia, Pat, a bunch of people. So it'll be a big deal. It's going to hit the industry pretty heavy over the next 3 weeks, I think. And it'll be very interesting to follow. And I'm excited for you, Rick. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I mean, my goal, knock on wood, is to have around 10,000 fitness pros attending, watching it. That's a pretty hefty goal, but, I think it's real. I think it's very realistic. We've got some great presenters. Obviously, both of you, John Spencer Ellis, Pat Rigsby, Alicia Strager, Luca Hosifer, Greg Justice, Dax Moy just came on board. I mean, we got some of the heavy hitters in the industry, the people that have really made a difference in fitness professionals' lives presenting. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure if it will be an issue or not, but since it's video heavy, you might want to make sure your bandwidth, you got your bandwidth issues squared away.
Yes, I've already checked into that.
Yeah, good. All right, well, it'll be exciting to watch, that's for sure, and hear the stories from the inside, from the guy.
And we've already created the Facebook group that everybody that gets their free tickets, so to speak, we want to get them interacting in the Facebook group instead of trying to interact while the videos are going on. So I've limited where they can actually communicate, because when they're watching a video, I want them doing one of three things: watching the video, downloading the free gift that every one of you guys have given them, free tools and whatever, or maybe considering, the all access pass for having it for lifetime. That's the only three things I want them doing when they're watching that video. Is one of those three steps. Otherwise, if they want to communicate, we'll all be over in the Facebook group.
Yeah, smart. Keep them focused. That's smart.
So, Rick, what if you could put a timeline on how long is each interview on average?
They're averaging about 35, 40 minutes. There's some that have been 18, 20 minutes. There's been a couple that have been close to 50. But they've been averaging about 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot of content. That's a lot.
Yeah, and there's 36 presentations.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I mean, and there's some really, really good stuff in there. I mean, it's been fun talking to everybody and watching them open up, because, I mean, they've been sharing some stuff that if people just apply one thing from each one of these people that are being interviewed, I guarantee you they've got multiple six-figure business. They really do. It's incredible. Just the tools they're providing and the systems is worth several $1,000s that they're giving away for free. So it's pretty exciting.
It is. And you know what? Just listening to you talk about it, if you haven't planned on it yet, you definitely ought to do some Facebook videos and just talk about your enthusiasm around this whole thing, because you do a great job with that. It comes off, it's very authentic. It's real. You're clearly excited about it, and you should, share that, because. Yeah,
I'm hoping to do some Zoom calls with whoever wants to, that, any of the presenters, to their Facebook groups or whatever. Like I think Alicia's going to do one, which her group is huge, we know. So, a Zoom webinar talking about it there will be massive. One of my Facebook ads is going to be me talking like this. So I think that'll be helpful too, along with, I need to send you guys over what the ad looks like actually.
Yeah, definitely do that. I also think in front of one of your Facebook ads, the very first part of the video should be you benching 650. That will absolutely get people's attention. Then you go into the pitch. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up then, unless anybody has any last-minute questions. Chris, Dathan, you guys are good? All right. Okay, Aaron, anything?
Nope.
No? All right. Rick, thank you. As always, thanks to all of you guys. Really appreciate it. Have a great week.
See you guys. Talk to you soon.
Take care.